Okay, let's just dive right into this incredibly atmospheric explainer of a classic campfire ghost story. Today, we're unpacking a short but seriously unsettling narrative titled The Seven Beneath the Glass. We are stepping right into the shadows with this one, you guys. We're going to break down the anatomy of a perfect, chilling mystery. We're talking about a terrifying family heirloom and the creeping dread of a photograph that literally refuses to stay still. If you appreciate a story that gets under your skin using just a few precise details, well, you're absolutely going to find this analysis fascinating. The story immediately sets the tone and establishes the central conflict right out of the gate. You see, the narrator's grandmother flat out refused to let anyone touch the old family photo hanging in her hallway. And it wasn't just about keeping the glass clean either. She gave this very specific, really chilling warning. She said if we looked too closely, we'd notice it. Notice how she doesn't say who or what, she just says it. It's a total masterclass in building suspense. As an audience, we're instantly primed to look for something hidden, something wrong. Her deliberate secrecy turns this totally mundane household object into a forbidden artifact. Section 1. Uncovering the hidden photo. Breaking the rules. So once the grandmother passed away, the narrator finally did what was forbidden for so long. They actually took the picture down from the hallway wall. And the text notes that at first glance, everything looked perfectly normal. Just an old family portrait. But the absolutely crucial point happens when the narrator actually stops and takes a moment to systematically count the faces in the frame. That simple, deliberate action of counting is what shatters the illusion of normalcy, because there were 7 people present in the image. And this brilliantly illustrates the impossible math that really triggers our dread here. We have the hard visual evidence, right? 7 people in the photo. But we also have the established family history. The grandmother only had 6 children. This contradiction is exactly where the narrative shifts from a sad family memory right into a supernatural mystery. Where on earth did that extra number come from? In a closed family system, an extra face isn't just a simple mistake, it's an intrusion. The math simply does not add up, and that cognitive dissonance is exactly what makes the source text so incredibly effective. Section 2. The blurry, smiling stranger. An impossible anomaly. Once the narrator realizes there's an extra person, their eyes are naturally drawn to the back corner of that photograph. The source text describes this extra figure with 2 very specific, highly unsettling adjectives: tall and blurry. Think about why this matters for a second. In an old family photograph, usually everyone is posed, trying their absolute best to stay perfectly still for the camera so they remain in focus. The fact that this figure is out of focus suggests they either didn't belong in the formal composition to begin with, or they were actually moving while the shutter snapped. It inherently separates them from the rest of the family members who are captured clearly. But the blur doesn't hide everything. Even through that out-of-focus distortion in the back corner, the narrator could clearly make out one deeply unsettling detail. The figure was smiling. Now, a smile in a family photo is usually a sign of warmth and connection, right? But placed on a tall, blurry, hidden figure in the shadows of a picture where they absolutely do not belong? No way. That smile is entirely recontextualized. It's no longer friendly. It becomes something predatory, almost mocking. It tells us that this entity knows exactly where it is, and this brings us to the ultimate confirmation of the intrusion. Despite this figure being captured in what is supposed to be a highly intimate, private family portrait, absolutely no one recognized this mysterious stranger. The text is definitive on this point. It wasn't a forgotten uncle or some neighbor who just wandered into the frame. No one knew who it was. The grandmother's warning from the beginning, if we looked too closely, we'd notice it, suddenly makes terrifying sense, doesn't it? She knew this unrecognized entity was trapped or hiding within the family's history, right beneath the glass. Section 3. The figure moves closer. Standing closer.
We can basically break down the true horror of this anomaly into 3 distinct steps. Step 1. For years, the figure was completely unnoticed in the back, protected by the grandmother's strict rules. Step 2. The picture is taken down, the math does not up, and the tall, blurry, smiling figure is finally noticed. But it's step 3 that delivers the final devastating blow of this campfire ghost story. The text reveals that every single time the narrator looked back at the photo, the blurry figure had physically changed position. It wasn't a static printing error. It was active. Every time they looked, the smiling entity was standing closer. By breaking down the events this way, we can clearly see how the story shifts the threat from the past, an old photograph taken decades ago, directly into the present moment for the narrator. The act of looking at the photo is what seemingly gives the figure the power to move.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a question. When was the last time you counted the faces in your family photos? This story works so perfectly because it takes something we all have, dusty family portraits hanging in hallways, and turns them into vessels for creeping dread. It forces us to question the details we take for granted every single day. So I leave you with this chilling thought to keep in mind. The next time you walk past those old frames in your own hallway, you might want to look closely, do a quick head count, and make absolutely sure that everyone looking back at you is someone you actually recognize and that they are exactly where you left them.